What's up, guys? The attendance tonight was 18,455, 29th consecutive sellout, sold out all year. Gate was 4.4 million. The fight of the night was Till Du Plessis, and performance of the night, since it's the holidays and I'm in a good mood, I gave everybody who got to finish $50,000. So there's a lot of them.
All right, so you're in a good mood. I mean, I don't know that everybody is right now. Kind of a wild ending, right? I guess give us your thoughts on the main event.
What are you going to do? I think the main event was terrible. What are you going to do?
What about the scoring of it itself?
We've seen this. This is nothing new. It's like the Paddy Pimblett fight. It's like Gordon had a horrible game plan going into that third round. You think you won the first two rounds with the judges? I mean, how do you know that? Why go in there and throw away the third round and not go in and fight your ass off and try to win? If you think you know who won what round or whatever, you're crazy. I've been doing this for 23 years. I have no fucking idea what those guys are going to do or what they're going to say. So, yeah.
Did you have anybody winning in the main event? Did you have it?
I don't even know. I started to zone out after like fucking 3 rounds. So, I heard that Ankalaev is upset and whatever. What do you want me to do? You got beat up the first 2 rounds and you took him to the ground. You started. What are you going to do?
But I guess the question is, what do you do now, right? I mean, you got a vacant title, a split.
You do Glover versus Jamal Hill in Brazil for the vacant title.
Is that done?
Done.
Thanks for breaking some news there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right.
That's what I do.
And then, oh yeah, you're always so giving, especially on fight night.
That's
you love
me.
Matchmaking on fight night.
It's Christmas.
And I guess I did want to ask you about what you thought about the Paddy Pimblett score as well, but there's a lot of kind of going back and forth on that one as well.
The same thing. You know what I mean? I thought that Jared Gordon's game plan in the third round was horrible. He felt like he had the first 2 rounds, and he went in and pushed him against the fence. And I got to go after the ref, too. A big fight, co-main event, third round, crowd's going crazy, and you're going to let him stand against the fence the entire fight? But these are these things that happen. What are you going to do? Horrible game plan by Gordon. The ref let it happen, and he threw the fight away. He was doing great in that fight. He should have fought the third round.
Last thing for me, you made a trip into the cage after Santiago Ponzinibbio and Alex Morono. Don't typically do that after every fight, so just want to know kind of what the message was there.
Yeah, I just had so much respect for him. He took the fight on short notice, was winning the fight, going into the third round. He rocked Ponzinibbio, and then now on the flip side, Ponzinibbio's corner that round said, "You just this is corner work. You just lost the first 2 rounds. You have to go in there and finish him." And Ponzinibbio went in there, got rocked, and then kept it together and ends up finishing the fight. And Morono fought like a stud. Not to mention the fact too that Ponzinibbio was expecting to fight a southpaw, older guy who's been in some wars, and he ends up in there with this young savage who, can crack. So just have nothing but respect for both guys. And, we give Morono his win money, too.
Yeah, you're in a good mood.
Yeah, I'm raining tonight. Raining. That it? I'm done?
No, not quite yet. Dana, what do you do with Darren Till at the moment? Obviously, he's gone through a bad streak, and tonight he had his moments, but he ended up losing again. I'm curious, what do you see as his future?
I mean, that's the fight of the night. I don't think his stock drops at all. If he would have went out there and got destroyed in the first round, like it looked like it was going to happen, but he did the exact opposite. He weathered that storm, stayed out of submissions, and then he comes back, and you think he's going to win the fight. I thought it was an awesome fight. That's why it was fight of the night, and I don't think his stock dropped at all. And for Du Plessis, what an incredible win for him. I think that slam at the end, I think that took the life out of Till. Did you hear that when they hit the ground? Yeah, that was brutal. I think that's what ended the fight more than the choke.
Obviously, this is the last pay-per-view of the year. I'm curious, if you look back at 2022, what do you think of it and how the company's done?
It was awesome. I mean, 29 consecutive sellouts, and all the fights this year have been incredible, right up until the main event tonight. But it's been an awesome year.
What did you make of Raul Rosas' performance? A lot was made of him being obviously 18. Jay Parent talked a lot leading up to this, and it's a very impressive win by Raul.
Listen, I say this all the time. UFC jitters are absolutely real. It happens to all the guys. I don't care how good you are, how confident you are, all that stuff. It's a real thing, and he overcame it tonight at a very young age. There's a hysterical meme that people are sending me tonight of him in school next week. It's pretty funny if you check it out online. But when you try to wrap your head around that and think about the tremendous pressure that this kid must be under, and to come in and fight in the UFC, it's awesome.
And then obviously another big win for Ilia Topuria. What did you make of his performance against Bryce Mitchell?
He looked incredible tonight. He went out there and absolutely dominated, and a really badass, tough kid, and he looked damn good doing it.
And he called for the UFC to go to Spain. He said he's actually talked to you about this before in the past.
Well, you know what my answer to that is. We want to go everywhere. So, yes, we want to go to Spain, too. Yeah, I love it.
Is there any update on UFC Africa? Dricus Du Plessis was saying that if you're going to go, you should go to South Africa because they have the infrastructure.
Yeah. No. Next year, we're going to dive into that and start figuring out where we think we go and how we do it. Yeah.
Dana back here.
Yep.
Dana, obviously 2022, a lot of the titles changed hands. Once again, obviously one of the best things about the sport, unpredictability, but can you just talk about that from the promotion standpoint, having so many stars go up and go down in a year like 2022?
Well, I think you answered your own question. I think that it's what makes the sport so awesome is that you have no idea how a fight is going to turn out. And, there's so many different ways to win, so many different ways to lose. And it usually happens. It's and if you have some dominant champs like Israel and Usman, and they end up getting beat, especially the way they did this year. It's a crazy sport, man. It's so fun to watch. It's like the Till fight tonight. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was literally on the edge of my seat through that whole fight because it was so back and forth. And Till survived that first round. Then it looked like Du Plessis was tired, and it's awesome. I don't even know what else to say other than it's the greatest combat sport in the world ever.
Earlier this week, obviously the announcement about returning to London with a numbered event. Are things looking like they'll be finalized for Usman Edwards #3, or could we see a bit of a change up?
Yeah, no, that's what we're aiming for. That's what we want. We're going to go to the O2, and that's it.
And then my final question, just Edmund Shabazian, obviously got back in the win column after a rough stretch. Just what were your thoughts on that fight?
He looked good tonight. He looked good. Came in and did what he had to do. Back was up against the wall, and he came out and won tonight. I love that kid. I'm happy for him.
Happy holidays.
You too, buddy.
Dana,
Hey, Dan.
Yep.
Can you just walk us through the process in making this Glover versus Hill fight? Obviously, this just happened. I know Glover was here. Was Hill here as well? Did you call him? What happened?
We got out of the octagon. We're all bummed out in my green room in the back. And then Hunter and Mick started talking. Hunter had talked to somebody, and Mick had already talked to somebody, and they're like, what about doing this in Brazil? We'll turn it right around and do this thing in Brazil. And everybody started to cheer up a little bit and got a lot more fun back in the green room, yeah.
So fair to say, like, verbal agreements for now, contracts haven't been signed yet?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And just wanted to get an update from you. We haven't heard you in this forum talking about the betting investigation that's going on. I know there's only so many things you can say, but is there any updates you can give us on what's going on currently?
There's literally nothing I can say about that. I did an interview the other day with Akamoto. It was probably the most I've said about this, and that doesn't come out till like next week. But it is what it is. There's an investigation going on, and see how it plays out.
How concerning is this for you about like kind of the integrity not only of this organization but as the sport as a whole?
Zero. I'm not worried about it at all. You know, people ask me, well, what were they talking about? Somebody was saying, well, what's the UFC going to do? We let these guys know not to bet on fights. Do you know what the outcome of this is? Like, if I penalize them, you get cut. They're going to go to fucking federal prison. Federal fucking prison. If you're that fucking stupid and somebody else wants to do it, knock yourself out. There's not enough money in it to ruin your life and not go to jail. Go to federal prison. What other question do you have?
I was just going to ask if there's a timeline on when maybe this could be wrapped up. Or
How the fuck would I know? There's an investigation going on. You think the people that are investigating call me and keep me in the loop on this?
I'm not sure what you're being told. That's why I asked.
Why would they tell me? There's an investigation going on a fight that's being fixed. Why would they tell me anything? I know as much as you know.
Fair enough. Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Hey, Dana. On a lighter note, Ilia Topuria, he's got bad blood with Paddy Pimblett. 2 times in a row, they've shared pay-per-view cards. During the press conference, they feuded. Just curious, do you have interest in booking them down the line, that matchup, Paddy and Ilia?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, it's not anything that we're looking at right now. I mean, the way he looked tonight, I mean, this kid, what is he right now, 14? Yeah. He's, you know, he after tonight, he breaks into the top 10, you know. I'm sure that kid's looking at title. He wants the title, you know. So he's working his way this way.
Lastly, any update with booking a fight with Colby Covington or Jorge Masvidal, 2 top guys in the welterweight division?
I have no idea. I'm not even thinking about that shit right now.
Dana, don't you right?
Yep.
You spoke about the return to London. I know you guys were looking at a stadium show, and obviously you settled on the O2. How close was it to being finalized for a stadium?
Well, we didn't settle on the O2. I mean, the O2 is our spot. That's where we go. That's, you know, those guys have been amazing to us. The energy and the buzz inside that place is always, I mean, I tell everybody, if you want to go to a fight in London at the O2. It's unbelievable. People from the UK were saying, why don't you look at Cardiff? Why don't you do this? Why don't you check this place out? So I did. I mean, I looked at it. My number one big problem in England is your weather. Let's start there. Weather with an outdoor arena in February or March or whatever, it just fucking spells disaster, I think. And it just didn't work out. A lot of different things that factored in it not working out, but I'm very happy at the O2.
I know, obviously, it's not a done fight yet, but Leon was kind of like, oh, as soon as he won the title, it was like, oh, Dana wants to do the stadium show. Do you think he would be happy fighting in the O2? And, you know, obviously, he'd like to fight in a stadium, right? But for the reasons, like you said, maybe it can't be done.
No, it's not that it can't be done. It's like when you talk about going to certain places, like we did outdoors in Abu Dhabi. Odds are pretty good it's not going to rain. You know, when you go to these other places, I'm such a freak about the live show, the live event, and fans being there, and anything that could affect the fight, whether it's rain or wind or, you know, it's tough for me. Even in Abu Dhabi, that night that we did that, it was hot as hell outside in the middle of the night. That has an effect on the fight too. But if there's an outdoor fight, Abu Dhabi's probably the spot.
And finally, what did you make of Raul Rosas' interview where he said he wants the $50,000 to buy his mum a minivan so he could take it to the PI?
I love it. He got it. Congratulations. Minivan on the way.
Thank you.
You're
Dan,
welcome. Yeah.
You're right. Another young fighter, Cameron Simon, opened up the card. I know that you were very high on him during the Contender Series. I wonder your thoughts on him.
I'm sorry. I zoned out there. What did you ask me?
Cameron Simon, he opened up the card. You were very high on him during the Contender Series. I just wanted your thoughts on him.
Yeah. No. You already said I like him. What more can I say about him? You know? Yeah, congratulations. I love seeing these kids come in off the Contender and do well in the big show and deal with the pressure and all the things that come along with fighting here. Once you get that out of the way and under your belt, probably going to do pretty well.
You announced the theater at the Virgin Hotels on March 11th. I just wanted to know what was the decision to go there. It's a new spot, I'm guessing.
What did you say?
The theater at the Virgin Hotels on March 11th, the new the hotel for the fight night. It was Jamal Hill versus Anthony Smith. I just wanted to know the decision.
We are? No, that's news to me. I didn't even know that. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo are saying that fight is done for March. Confirm or deny that?
Did we announce that?
They have.
They have. I guess it's right then.
And then any news on John Jones versus Francis Ngannou? Is that the way that you're trying to go, though?
Guys, I'm not even thinking about that shit tonight. You're asking me shit that could happen in 23, possibly in the summer, and I have no idea.
And then finally, you did say that you're trying to do Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler.
I never said that ever fucking once. This is what happens when you do interviews and people listen to your interviews and you said, so if Conor McGregor came back right now, who would you be looking at as an opponent? Well, I said, well, if he did, if that happened and that scenario played out right now, Chandler would be a fun fight. Never fucking once did I say we're doing Conor McGregor versus Chandler. I don't even know when Conor McGregor's coming back. And this is why I don't like to answer these kind of questions. Because some fucking idiot somewhere on the internet puts out that's what I said, and it's not even remotely close to what I said. People write stories off other fucking interviews with other people when they couldn't even ask proper questions. I don't know. I was in a good mood. Now you guys are fucking killing me. I'm kidding.
Sorry about that.
I'm kidding.
Taking the bonuses back.
I might not help this mood, Dana.
All right, buddy. What do you got?
I wanted to go back to judging. Sorry about this. Is there anything? I know it's kind of like the tail wagging the dog, but is there anything that the UFC can do, working with the Nevada Athletic Commission, to improve the consistency and quality of judging?
We've been doing it for years. I mean, for 23 years we've been working with these guys on that stuff. But it's not just the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It's other commissions when we go places. You have, I haven't said this in a long time, so things must be better. Don't leave it in the hands of these judges. Don't go out in the third round and think you won the first 2 rounds and push a guy against the cage when you were doing great in the fight anyway. You already were doing great in the fight. Go out and fucking fight the third round, Ponzinibbio's corner told him, you just fucking lost the first 2 rounds. You need to knock him out to win this fight. Right? What you don't ever want to do as a corner is go, you got the first 2 rounds. Let's cruise this round. Stay away from him. Do this or that. You know what I mean? No. I guess unless it's the Usman fight.
Good point. Yeah.
It was probably 4-0 in that fight, and he probably should have pushed him against the fence for the 5th round.
Yeah.
There's... What I said isn't necessarily always true, but you know what I'm saying. When it makes sense. The Paddy Pimblett fight, you could, the first 2 rounds, they were both hitting each other. You don't know how one guy's looking at a fight. When rounds are that close, you don't go and give away the 3rd round.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on a more positive note, it's been a big year for the UFC. What's been your personal highlight from the last 12 months?
I would have to say the consecutive sellouts, To sell out, I gotta keep looking, 29 straight events. It's a big one, man. That's not easy to do, and I'm sure you guys realize too when you're there. It's so fun, the energy in the place. I mean, Orlando last week was, even on TV, it felt like a massive major event. So I love that shit.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Dana
sir.
in the back.
Yep.
Right in the middle.
Hi.
Hi there. You just mentioned, so there's 29th consecutive sellouts, 29th year of the organization. You don't have your biggest name, Conor McGregor, in a fight this year. What did the organization do to really be able to step it up, especially 2 years out of the pandemic and things being opened up? Can you point to something that you were able to do outside of making particular fights?
Well, that's what we always do. I mean, that's what we've always done. I mean, if you really look at it, in the last 5 or 6 years, Conor's probably fought 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean, right? Is that about right? What'd you say? 4 or 5 times in the last? Yeah. So, obviously, it's great to have superstars and do big fights, but, that's what we do. And why do we have 29 consecutive sellouts this year? We went through COVID. That's why.
Kind of sticking with Conor McGregor, Conor has taken himself out of the USADA pool or the VADA pool, and he's talked about being able to take certain drugs to be able to recover from the type of surgery that he's had and the injury he's had.
Who said that? Conor?
Conor.
Okay.
Is there a conversation that UFC has had with the drug organizations talking about fighter recovery, not so much allowing fighters to skirt around the regulations and the type of recovery drugs that they can take, but there are certain injuries that require doctor intervention that could put them at risk for testing positive? Have you had this conversation internally and with USADA or VADA?
Well, I think that the injury that you're talking about, that the only time that I've ever really seen that is breaking that shin bone. All the guys that have broken that shin bone have the same type of recovery. But as far as conversations that have happened, you'd have to ask Jeff Novitzky that. I don't get involved in the drug stuff anymore. I stay far away from the drug stuff. He's much smarter than me when it comes to that shit. So that's a question for him.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you.
Dana.
Yep.
You said on Paddy Pimblett's podcast that you would like to. You plan on being in more places on the road for fight nights this year.
Yeah.
Do you know approximately what percentage of the fight nights will be on the road?
I mean, if I really had my way and it works out the way that I hope it does, 100% of them will be on the road. Yeah.
Okay. And I talked to DC last month in New York, and he was talking about trying to get wrestlers into the UFC. And I was wondering if you have ever thought about like partnering with USA Wrestling or anything like that to go to some of their tournaments after their tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, wrestling's a massive part of this sport. And, when that whole thing went on a few years ago where they were trying to get rid of wrestling from the Olympics, we fought hard to make sure that didn't happen. But, I mean, we've had a relationship where we end up with a couple of up-and-coming wrestlers. I wouldn't say that we don't have a relationship with wrestling. We do.
With the USA Wrestling
Yeah.
organization?
Years ago, it always was a no-brainer for me to have a relationship with USA Wrestling. They didn't want to have a relationship with us back in the day. So, I mean, I got nothing negative to say about them, but...
Do you think with the way that you've built the UFC that they'd be more open to that now?
Probably.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
On the Contender Series graduates we saw tonight make their debuts, you called Cameron Simon the future earlier in the summer. So what does that make Raul Rosas?
Yeah, it's tonight was a big night for him. He's so young. He's so young. We haven't. The closest to him, I think, is Vitor Belfort when he was like 18, was fighting in the UFC. And like I said earlier, for him to accomplish what he did tonight is amazing. And both of these kids are studs, and yeah, they won their first fight, so it's awesome.
When you look at the performances they made on their debuts tonight, how does that compare to previous Contender Series graduates that have gone on to make their UFC debuts in earlier seasons?
Well, the Contender Series has been massive for us. I mean, it's been an incredible way to showcase new up-and-coming talent. And any of you that have ever been to the Apex for those, it's incredible. It's incredible to be there live. It's one of the best shows we've ever done. And I think that the other thing that's amazing about it, much like Looking for a Fight show, is these kids come in, they're unknown, they don't even fight in the UFC yet, and millions of people know who they are before they ever. I mean, this is this kid's first fight. You hear the place tonight? I mean, it was crazy. It's like, that's the power of the Contender Series. This season of the Contender Series is the first time ever that we were trending worldwide on social media because of contender fights. So the show continues to grow. I think, our contract's coming up here with ESPN, and I think that when we do our next deal, you'll see the Contender Series actually being on linear television.
With Rosas being the youngest UFC fighter, there's no blueprint on how you develop as such a young combat athlete here. How do you handle developing him?
Well, just like any other one. This kid's obviously, he's young, but he's got what a 25-year-old would have that's getting into the UFC. You know, he's special. This kid's different. He's different than a lot of other 17 and 18-year-old kids. The fact that he can come in here at that age with some of these guys that are 25 that have man strength and can hang with these guys, it's impressive.
Cheers. See you next year.
You too, sir. Thank you. You good? Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you.
Dricus, congratulations
Hello.
on a very impressive victory. Obviously, we thought you were going to get it done early in the first round. You dug deep, got it in the third. I guess, how are you feeling overall about your performance tonight?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I guess tonight I came out and showed that, listen, I can go for leg locks if I have to. Even surprised myself a little with that. But, you know, a big thing was in my last fight, I shot for a few takedowns that didn't land. And even though I don't really care if they landed because it was a stand-up war, I don't like it if anybody thinks that I'm not good anywhere in the sport. I'm good everywhere. And I wanted to come out and prove that tonight. I got the takedowns. I was really surprised when how it played out in that first round. It was like almost, I got the takedown and then all of a sudden I had his arm trapped and I was just landing these massive shots and I was just landing shot. And the next moment the ref was telling him, listen, I'm going to stop this fight. And glad the ref didn't stop the fight. A lot of people said maybe they could have. No, it was fair play. Every time the refs warned him and told him to improve his position, he did do that. But I didn't really completely pull the trigger because I was like, this is the first round and I'm just holding on to him and punching him in the face. So I didn't really pull the trigger. Second round, I hang back a little. I have to say, I didn't feel tired at all. My legs did feel a little bit, I don't know, maybe it was the weight cut. Maybe, I don't know what it was. My legs felt a little bit weird. I felt slow. In the third round, well, halfway through the second round, I felt good again. I started finding my feet again, and everything went better. Third round, I came out and I knew this is the time to finish the fight. I didn't even consider the fact that I was going to go to a decision. I knew I was going to finish that fight, and I knew that if I took Darren down, I could finish the fight at any moment.
I know you had a lot of respect for Darren Till as a welterweight. Do you now have respect for him as a middleweight as well? Do you think he proved maybe that he can compete in the division?
I think Darren proved that he is an incredible fighter, but I do believe if he wants to make any run at being successful, he needs to fight at welterweight. I honestly felt that tonight, and I'm not being hating on Darren Till at all. I have all the respect in the world, but he is not strong enough or big enough to fight at middleweight.
As for yourself, I mean, obviously this run that you've been on in the UFC is impressive. So, I mean, how fast do you think people should be talking about you as, you know, a legitimate title contender? Is this something you want to accomplish next year, or is it still like, hey, let me gradually make my way up? Like, what's the path for you?
Well, I think gradually that ship has sailed. I just beat Darren Till. I just made my a proper stamp. I just got a proper stamp on a fight of the night in the top 10 of the division. I said in my last fight that I will be in the top 10 before the end of the year. Here I am. And I'm telling you guys now, I'll be a title contender by the end of 2023.
Last thing for me, you did just go through a war, so I'm just curious. I mean, do you see yourself trying to turn something around and keep some consistency? Do you need some time off? What's the plan for you?
Yeah, well, right now I'm going to enjoy the Christmas holidays, get a little bit fat, drink all the beer that I can, eat all the pizza that I can, like I always do after fights. But you can't get me out of the gym for more than 2 weeks, and I'll be back at it. I'm looking to return early March, maybe April, but early next year. Getting 3 or 4 fights in next year to make sure I get that contender spot.
Dricus, right here. You had mentioned the weight cut and your legs. Was it a tough weight cut this fight camp?
Oh no, not at all. My weight cut actually went brilliantly. Just usually I have somebody that loosens me up after the weight cut because you can get quite stiff from cutting weight. Obviously your muscles, they stiffen up because you're taking all the sodium and all the sweating and everything. And I didn't do it this fight. But my cut went absolutely great. I cut maybe 4 pounds less than I did with the Brad Tavares fight. I was quite a bit bigger in the cage with Brad Tavares, but I didn't like it that way. Everything went perfect with this cut. I think it was just a slip up on my part of preparation.
And at the face-off yesterday, when he wouldn't face you, and then he tried to make you flinch, did that bother you at all, or did it add anything into this fight?
No, I wouldn't want to face me. Did you see the size of me against him?
And then obviously you and Cameron both got wins today. Have you heard from anyone in South Africa how they took all your fights?
Oh yeah, people on my phone's going absolutely crazy. Spoke to my mom and dad, spoke to my brothers. Everybody's just ecstatic. You know, Cameron fought 1:30 p.m. South African time, and I fought 5:30. So people stayed awake the whole night, and everybody's basically asleep now. But people were still going. My phone is going berserk, and people are absolutely raving. And we said it before, we're both coming home with performance bonus wins. And, you know, he got his performance bonus, I got fight of the night. South Africa MMA is alive.
Dricus right here. Just want to ask, on Cameron's performance, just what did you think? He obviously spoke glowing of you as the more experienced teammate in the UFC. Just what was it like to see him, finally get his moment in the sun too?
I'm so incredibly happy for him. You know, this kid has put in all the work, and he deserves to be here. He deserves to be here, and he showed that tonight. That's what I wanted people to see. You know, a lot of people said, oh, he's too young, it's too early. I wanted tonight, it was so amazing for me, so that I don't have to tell anybody. We don't have to tell anybody that Cameron deserves to be here. Cameron showed that he deserves to be here tonight. He faced some adversity after that first round. You know, he had me worried a few times in that fight. We had a talk when I got back here, but you know, the kid's 21-year-old. He's a 21-year-old kid. He's going to make mistakes. And he's fighting on the biggest stage in the world. And I'm just incredibly proud of him and so proud to call him a teammate and fellow countryman.
Speaking once again of the size discrepancy between you and Darren, roughly about how much do you weigh on fight night, if you could tell us?
I probably got into the cage at 210 tonight. Yeah, I would say I got into the cage at 210, which is quite normal for me, between 208 and 210 to get in the cage.
Thank you.
Hey, Dricus. To your right. The other right.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned pizza and beer earlier. Will you be having any of that tonight with Cameron?
Absolutely. 100% we are going to have a lot of pizza. We're going to have a lot of beer. Well, I'm saying we're going to have a lot of pizza, but we'll probably have the first thing we can get our hands on. But the beers we will definitely find. Whatever the first stop that we can make has, we're going to eat that, and there will be beer.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Dricus, hoe het die geveg vir jou afgeloop?
Wel, het kon regtig nie beter gegaan het nie. Ek het amper die fight gestop vroeg in die eerste ronde. Ek's bly dit nie so uitgedraai nie, want dan het ek nou gesit met die fight of the night nie. Dit het ongelooflik goed gegaan. Ek dink ek het aan baie mense bewys dat ek nie net kan stand up nie, maar ek kan op die grond fight, en ek het ook gestand up met een van die beste stand-up fighters in die UFC. En ons gameplan perfek uitgewerk. Baie dankie aan my coach, Morney Visser, en ons span daar van Pretoria, klein gym in Pretoria, Team CIT MMA. Ons het dit gedoen, ons plan het perfek gewerk, soos wat hy altyd werk. Ons is hier en ons is hier om te bly.
En wat is volgende vir jou?
Vakansie hou, en dan sal ons gaan sit, ek coach die span, en ons sal praat, en ons sal besluite neem oor wat die beste volgende opponent. Daar's baie goed in die divisie wat moet gebeur. Ek sal Paulo Costa love om te fight. Ek sal love om te fight. Ek weet hy fight Robert Whittaker. Ek weet hy wil dalk net sy kontrak hernie nie. Maar jy weet ons moet kyk wat gebeur want op hierdie stadium het ek net 'n paar ouens van hom te kies. Dis nie meer net die hele divisie nie. To say that in English, what I did say is the most important part is I would love to fight Paulo Costa if that fight could ever happen, but I don't know at this stage if he's gonna, renew his contract. I don't know what he's busy with. It's just a fight I've always seen. He's a big guy. In the weight, he's considered the big guy, and I think he's somebody that's he flourishes of being the big guy. He'll see a big guy when he steps in there with me, and I would love that fight. But I know he's fighting Whittaker, and right now I don't have a whole division to choose from anymore. My fights now has been limited to the top 10. Whew, that sounds good. And so whoever it is, first quarter of next year, I'll be ready to fight whoever they give me in that top 10, hopefully a top 5. I just want to have these all the names I'm going to fight from now on are big, right? I guess that's how it works now.
Baie geluk, my bro.
Baie dankie. All good. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the year. Thanks for everything.
Santiago, congratulations. Obviously, a hard-fought victory for you tonight. You can see the wear right now. I guess physically, how are you feeling after that battle?
I feel great, man. Happy. Too many crazy things, Change opponent, change the weight, change too many things. I come in battle with some injuries, and I need to wait for so long. And it's a little stress week. Of course, I'm not prepared for him. Take a little time to read him. I'm also, I feel a little slippery, when I put my jab. I don't know if the people can see that, but sometimes when I put the jab, my foot is slippery, and they don't give me very good support to do my game, the in-out, and I need to process all the information in the first round. He take me a couple good punches, Thank God in the third round, my corner told me, man, probably we lose the 2 rounds. You need to do something. I go forward and try to put my right hand, and thank God I take it.
Given all you were dealing with, I know you said coming in, hey, I'm a fighter, we fight. But, was there ever any discussion of, maybe we shouldn't do this? We have the losses, and now we're changing opponent and style and everything. Did you ever think, maybe we just shouldn't fight?
Yeah, no. I'm a fighter, I take the challenge, and I grow in with the challenge, I believe in myself. I believe in I have the capacity to do the things, for sure are crazy. I prepare for a sub-pop, for a guy that uses more boxing, that are different movement, and this guy moving more kick, having more jiu-jitsu. It's different, and also it's different. If you talk about the names, of course, Lawler is bigger name, is a legend. But if you take the momentum, this kid have better momentum. He won 8 the last 10 fights in UFC, 4 in a row. Robbie is not coming the same way, and they changed completely. And also the weight, they make this fight 180 to try to stay the fight. When they told me that, I already 180, I'm alive. But yeah, I believe more in myself. I believe I'm big heart. I have the capacity to do the things, and I prove to myself one more time that I can do that.
I know Alex was a little frustrated with the stoppage, but from your point of view, did you think the stoppage was good?
Brother, in front him, I put the right hand, I saw he moved bad, I put the other right hand, he fall in front of me, and I have 2 more bombs to give him. If the referee no stop, I'm going to put the right hand on the cross. I'm probably going to injure him more, Yeah, I think they're doing the good thing. If he maybe protect the self, okay, no, but he not protect the self, and I'm ready to continue hurt him. You know, I don't want, but if the referee no go in the middle, I'm gonna do.
Well, obviously, congratulations. I guess what's the next move for you? Last thing for me. What's the next fight for you?
Brother, I don't know, man. This kid coming very well. 8 victories in 10 fights in UFC is not everyone, you know. I think I proved to the world again that I can stay with the top 10, you know. I try to take any challenge there. You know, I have a lot of exciting fights, and also my last 2 fights are a split decision. A lot of people think that I won both fights. Are close, but I can win. And if they give me these 2 fights, I 11-1 in my last 12-2, okay? I have 2 split decisions, but, you know, still my job is good inside to the cage, and we will see what happens. Maybe top 10. I wish. If not, to be honest, I don't want to have too much time waiting. I want to take a fight soon, you know.
Santiago, down the front right here. Dana White was just in here, and he was praising your cornerman between rounds 2 and 3, telling you that you were down 2-0 and you needed the knockout. So is that what they, during the fight, did you believe you were down 2-0, like your cornermen were saying?
Yeah. My corner, it's a little crazy fight. Yeah, I know very sure what is to happen. I asked him to my corner when they finished the second round, and he told me, you lose the 2 rounds. And I go, say, okay. Let's go try to finish, and I take my right hand, and that's it.
And unrelated, on Friday during the weigh-ins, were you sweating the Argentina game?
Yeah, man, a lot. I enjoy a lot the World Cup. I love soccer. I'm super happy with the victory in Argentina, and we continue with the party today, and we're ready for Tuesday. It's not easy game with Croatia, but I believe Messi, and I believe the team.
Santiago, felicitaciones, hermano.
Gracias.
Please share with us your emotion when you just made the knockout, that release you felt.
Yeah, man, because my last 2 fights are a split decision, brother. I don't want to go to the judge again. I don't know what is to happen. And also, my coach told me, you lost the 2 rounds. Maybe you are close. I don't know. I need to watch the fight. I don't remember very well. It's crazy fight. I give punches. I take punches. I need to shout. But I don't want to go to the judge again, you know. It's my last 2 fights, split decision. I think I do more, and that's so bad, you know, when it's too close, you know. And thank God the 3rd round, when I can put my right hand and finish the fight, I feel I did the job, right?
Santiago, felicidades con el triunfo. Si nos puedes contar un poquito el énfasis en el tercer asalto. Posiblemente ibas perdiendo, ganando, no importa, pero que sabías necesitabas el knockout para ganar la pelea o someter a tu oponente.
Eso, bueno, fue lo que me dijo mi esquina, Catel Cubis. Él me dijo, mira, estás perdiendo 2 asaltos, y fue una manera también de ponerme presión, y fue lo que él me dijo después. Yo sabía que tenía que decirte algo para que vos saques algo más de vos. Yo sé que tenías más para dar, y bueno, nada, al sentir eso es como que te ves contra la espalda y la pared, ya la pelea se está perdiendo, entonces creo que ahí entra el corazón y la actitud, que eso lo tengo. Yo siempre digo, eso lo tengo dentro mío, viene de fábrica, y fue el momento que dije, voy a ir para adelante, voy a salir a meter las manos, pero si la voy a perder va a ser dejándolo todo. Y bueno, conecté una buena derecha, por suerte.
Y si me puedes contar sobre el knockout, porque el golpe que conectaste fue casi perfecto, exactamente en el lugar de la cabeza para poder casi noquearlo con ese golpe, aparte los que pudiste conectar. ¿Cómo viste eso, o cuál fue la estrategia durante la pelea que pudiste encontrar ese momento perfecto?
Estaba buscando la mano derecha, la esquina me la estaba pidiendo, como estaba patinándome un poco cada vez que metía el jab, me estaba costando volver con la mano derecha, y bueno, en el tercer round salí, metí, creo que fue un golpe al cuerpo, y solté la derecha fuerte, conecta en la quijada, le veo la cara, veo que la cara se le tuerce, lo vi muy lastimado, repito la mano, esa pega más o menos a la altura de la 100 y cae. Y cuando cae, le voy a conectar otra y el juez ya la para, pero es lo que dije anteriormente, si la pelea seguía, yo tenía una mano derecha y un cruzado de izquierda, él estando en el piso lo iba a lastimar mucho.
Sí, y te vimos bastante lleno de emoción. ¿Qué fue eso? Empezaste a patear la jaula, gritarle a la gente, voy a hablar con Dana. Cuéntame sobre ese momento tan espectacular y lleno de alegría y... Adrenalina,
alegría. Creo que todo lo que venía pasando, ¿no? Porque mis últimas dos peleas, split decision, dos peleas que pensé que las gané, que si las hubiera ganado estaría probablemente cerca del título porque estaría con un récord de 10 victorias y una derrota, con la de hoy 11 victorias y una derrota, pero infelizmente esas dos peleas se escaparon por poco, con dos atletas muy duros, pero necesitaba eso, tener la sensación de finalizar un oponente más, de volver al knockout. Yo sé que tengo ese poder, pero la verdad es que había vuelto desde mi enfermedad, que la pasé muy mal, no había tenido un knockout. Entonces, fue lindo tener esa sensación, ¿no? De poder finalizar una pelea y sacar la adrenalina. Estaba con mucha adrenalina por todo lo que pasó, ¿no? Cambio de oponente, cambio de peso, lesiones, tiempo esperando para la pelea. La verdad que había muchas emociones adentro y bueno, y también el correr de la pelea que estaba siendo dura y bueno, poder terminarla así me dio mucha alegría.
¿Te interesa otra vez la pelea que la puedan programar de nuevo con Robbie Lawler o ya después de triunfo estás pensando en otra cosa?
Si se da bien, está buena, creo que puede ser una pelea divertida, pero si no se da también, no es mi objetivo. O sea, mi objetivo es pelear con alguien del top 10, acercarme al título, después con alguien del top 5 y poder tener mi oportunidad por el título. Ese es mi objetivo, la verdad, mi objetivo principal.
De acuerdo, y finalmente para mí, están viendo lo de la Copa Mundial, representaste a Argentina con tu mano en alta, un mensaje para tus fans ya que terminó el año y te siguen apoyando.
Mandarle un abrazo grande a toda la gente que cree en mí, sin importar el país, mostrar este corazón latino, este corazón con entrega, y a toda la gente que cree en mí, les regalo esta victoria dejándolo todo, y bueno, vamos a esperar que ahora Argentina siga ganando partidos, a ver si somos campeón del mundo, que vengo con mucha expectativa.
Gracias, Ben, y felicidades.
Gracias a vos.
Santiago, aquí. Acá, mano izquierda.
¿Cómo estás?
Cuando te invitan este martes a mirar el partido, ¿te gusta traer bebidas o traer comida a la fiesta?
Ahora, post pelea, bebidas.
Felicidades.
Gracias, hermano. Gracias. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Well, Paddy, congratulations on the victory. A hard-fought one out there tonight. I guess first and foremost, can we get a health update? Do you know the status of the foot, the ankle right now?
No, I haven't got a clue, lad. I'm going to have to get it MRI'd and X-rayed. The doctor said he'll do it Monday, so I'll know from then. Got to get this MRI'd and X-rayed as well. Jared's got one hard head.
So the hand might be broken as well.
Not the hand, it's my fingers here. These like little knuckles here. It's the fat.
Yeah. Well, you know, obviously we talk about when you fight, there's all these expectations. It's almost like if you don't come in and, you know, destroy him in the first round, that you're good. So I guess, you know, going through a 3-round war like that, how do you feel right now about the performance?
I'm sound, you know what I mean? Everyone's got an opinion, lad. The opinions are arseholes, you know what I mean? Everyone's got one. I know I won that fight, simple as. I deal in facts, lad, and I won a unanimous decision. It's not even like it was a split decision. Look at his face and look at mine. Fights get scored on damage now. I landed a lot more damage. End of.
Yeah. I know you had a lot of respect for him as a fighter coming in, but was it even more difficult than you thought? Did he have surprises for you in there?
Yeah, he was. It was, as I say, he can take a punch, lad. I hit him with some big shots and he kept coming forward. Hats off to Jared. He's a phenomenal fighter, also a phenomenal human being.
Yeah. Do you know, as the fight's unfolding, like you said, it's like people expect you to destroy guys. You know, is it difficult for you to keep focus and keep confidence, knowing that, you know, the fans probably want you to get them out of there and one, and you know you got to kind of grind your way?
No, I'm pretty happy now because I've just done my first ever 3 5-minute rounds in the UFC against a tough opponent who I know has cardio, and I could have pushed it more in that third round, but I coasted a bit. I thought I'm 2 rounds up, I'll coast it a bit, especially with the ankle. Know what I mean? I shouldn't have. It's my own silly fault. I shouldn't have coasted in the third round, but control time means nothing when you don't do nothing with it.
Last thing for me, I mean, obviously we're going to have to figure out what the health status is before you book anything, but do you see something? What's next for yourself as far as like a place or a headline or an opponent? What's next?
I don't care, lad. Know what I mean? People keep saying, oh, you're going to fight the top 15, you're going to fight him, you're going to fight him. Everyone talks about me, lad. That's how they stay relevant. People mention me to stay relevant, lad, so I don't care. Whoever's name's on the contract next, I'll fight, but I've got to sort this ankle out first.
Paddy, don't you right? Dana was in here and he said that he thinks that Jared's game plan going into the third round was horrible. Do you think the same?
Yeah. I compared it before to when Sean O'Malley hurt his ankle. He should have tried to stay standing with me because my ankle was pretty compromised in that third round. I was worried about my ankle. So because of that, I think if he would have tried to strike with me a bit more, he would have caught me more because I couldn't move properly. My foot wasn't 100%. So I think if he would have stayed striking with me, he would have had a lot more success because my mobility was a little bit stuck. Know what I mean? I would have been stuck in the mud. When he started pushing me against the cage, I was like, sound, let's chill. Know what I mean? And then I was landing more significant strikes with me back on the cage. Know what I mean? I think he landed 3 or 4 significant strikes in the third round. I was landing knees to the body, knees to the face, little elbows, little punches. As I say, fighter scored on damage now, and look at his face and look at mine.
And obviously, saying about the referee as well, Dana thinks, you should have done a better job of breaking it up. There was a bit of inactivity against the fence. Were you ever like, look, he's not doing anything to me, we need to separate it?
No, as I said, my ankle was a bit compromised, lad. So when he was holding me there, I was like, sound, Jared, let's chill. You know what I mean? Let's just base up here, because the more I separate, the more I have to put weight on my ankle, and the more I have to end up worried about getting in a bad position with my foot, because it was bad. Like, as soon as I kicked him in the first round, I put my foot down and went, oh, what's happened there? And then I was thinking about my foot, and where I was worrying about my foot, he left hooked me. I was like, oh, yeah, you're in a fight, Pad. Stop worrying about your foot. Let's focus on the fight at hand.
Is it an injury that you've had before? Do you kind of suspect what it is, or do you not know?
No, I don't know what I mean? I've had ankle injuries before, lad, know what I mean? But I feel like there's something in my ankle floating about. It's a bit weird, know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I've got a splint on my ankle now. I'm getting it looked at on Monday. Hopefully it's not too bad and I can focus on fighting still, but I don't know. I'm hoping I don't need surgery.
Obviously 4 wins in 4. Christmas is on the horizon. I think you've got a holiday to Thailand, right, in January. Yeah. How have you sum up this year, given this your co-main event, pay-per-view debut?
Sound, innit? It's been a good year. 3-0, 2 finishes. I've just went a full 15 with a very tough opponent who, as I say, he comes to fight every time, lad, and he's got the cardio for 15 minutes, and I won by unanimous decision. That's all that matters. So I've had a brilliant year, an absolutely brilliant year, and long may they continue.
Just one from Warren for you, sorry. Everyone makes a big deal about the diet outside of camp. Do you really not care what you're going to do from now between the next one? Everyone makes up you go almost to light heavyweight limit as you're eating a pizza there, I'm guessing it is?
No, that's a cookie, that, lad.
Oh, cookie, yeah. Do you not care in between now? Do you just going to do what you want?
I don't give a flying fuck what anyone's got to say about me. I turn up on weight in shape. That's all that matters.
Cheers, mate. Congrats.
Paddy in the front right here. You said you when you coasted in round 3, were your coaches telling you that you had won the first 2 rounds, or did you feel it in there that you had won the first 2?
I knew I'd won the first 2. People don't have to tell me, you know what I mean? But when I've looked at the stats after the fight, I think I won all 3. In the cage, I thought that he won the third, you know what I mean? And when it said 29-28, I was like, yeah, good decision. I won the first 2, he won the third. But then after looking back at the stats, 4 significant strikes in the third. Console time doesn't mean jack shit anymore, lad. You know what I mean?
So immediately after you felt he had won round 3, but then in hindsight, you think you won all 3?
Yeah.
And did you say anything to him after? He seemed pretty upset and he seemed to leave the octagon.
No, I spoke to him in the back. He said to me, I thought I won. I was like, lad, you're one tough son of a bitch. You know what I mean? You took some shots there and kept walking forward. Everyone always thinks they won, lad. I've lost 2 5-round decision fights and I thought I won both. You know what I mean? It's that simple. But like I said, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. The fact is, I won by unanimous decision.
Paddy done it. Obviously, you joked with Joe Rogan about did he pay for the interview. I'm curious, was there any part of you that regretted that thing happening this week with all the comments that you're getting on your Instagram and stuff like that?
No, I don't give a fuck. I'm unapologetically myself, lad. I've had that bottled up for over a year where he talks shite. I've had all bots commenting on my page. I get on with it, lad. You know what I mean? One of them.
Do you think that's an issue that you and Ariel could ever squash, or is that just going to be behind you?
I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Fighters are more important. I worry about fighters.
Hey, Paddy over here. Just out of curiosity, first time fighting in front of a full arena in the United States for the UFC. Just what was that experience? You know what you bring in the UK. What was it like to feel that knowing you're in a completely different country?
I felt bad for Jared when he walked out and got booed, to be honest. I did. I felt bad for Jared because he's a nice, very nice man. He didn't deserve to get booed, but it just shows how good my fans are and what star power I've got. That walkout was spectacular. That's up there with the O2, you know what I mean, and the Echo Arena in Liverpool. That was special. Lovely walkout.
I know you're going on vacation. If Jake Paul hits you up for that sparring session, are you still down, or what are your thoughts?
Lad, I'm going to have to get my foot looked at before I do anything. That goes without saying, lad.
Thank you. Paddy, Jared Gordon, was that do you think the toughest fighter that you've faced so far in your career?
Yeah, probably. As I say, lad, he's one tough son of a bitch. The man's had a golf club put over his head and a baseball bat put over his head and hasn't went down. But I've hit him with some punches there. Like, I think at the end of the second, if I wouldn't have poked by accident, obviously, if I wouldn't have got in his eye, I think I would have finished him there because I had him rocked. But it's one of them, lad. You know what I mean? I'm glad I've done a full 15 in the UFC against another athlete that I know can go 15 minutes easy, and I know for a fact that I won the fight. So, as I say, I deal in facts.
And how was fight week for you this week without having Molly alongside you? The last few UFC fights for you, the pair of you have been on the same card. Has it been slightly different dynamic? Is it not the same having Molly there with you?
Fight's a fight, lad. We turn off to scrap. You know what I mean? I'm always going to have this media and this big bubble around me whenever I turn up to fight because I put a lot of expectations on my shoulders the way I talk. But I talk the talk and then I walk the walk.
Assuming you're fit and good to go early in the new year, I know previously you said you wanted to go over to Vegas and fight in the States. Would fighting on that London card, given that it's a big pay-per-view, would that be something you'd be up for? Maybe co-main under that title fight with Leon and Kamaru?
As my man said, lad, I've got an Aldi booked in Taiwan for January, but I'm not just a fighter now, lad, I'm a businessman. I've got a few businesses that I'm opening up and a few things that I've invested in. So I'm not just a fighter now, lad. I've got to worry about some of my investments, so I don't know. We'll see.
All right, and last one from me. You mentioned your outside interests outside of the fight. Tell us about this foundation that you put together.
Well, yeah, I've put together the Paddy Foundation, and I just want to try and give back, you know what I mean, and help people who get forgotten about. So, kids in the UK who are eating off food banks and are going out in their school uniform on a Saturday and Sunday because they haven't got clothes. I want to try and help people like that, and then obviously men's mental health is a big thing to me now. After in my city there's an epidemic at the minute of people killing themselves, young men. So I just want to help give back. As I said earlier, I want to help Jared. Jared's such a good man and he helps his community so much. So I want to work together with Jared and put some funds together with him and help some of the charities that he works with in his local community because he does so much for them. And you know, we was enemies for 15 minutes, but we'll be friends for a lifetime.
Cheers, thank you.
Paddy right here. Jared just tweeted a few minutes ago saying, you know, I was robbed and everyone knows it. There's a few other fighters who have tweeted out like worst decision in UFC history and things along those lines. Why do you feel that maybe the outsider perspective is so far against you as far as how this fight unfolded?
Because I'm me, lad. It's just because it's me. You know what I mean? I don't know who was saying. Who else said? Who else thought he won? Any idea?
There's a lot of people. If you like kind of look over the fellow fighters on Twitter, you know, Dominic Cruz said he thought it was a terrible one. People called it embarrassing.
I was sitting next to Dominic Cruz before, and we spoke about it, and I said to him, control time means nothing. Damage. Look at my face, look at Jared's. I don't care what anyone says, lad. When you look back in the history books, I've got the little green marker next to my name with a W, so everyone else can suck me arsehole.
Thank you.
Hey, Paddy. You and Ilya have had a bit of needle this week, and he said earlier in this room that the judges gave you a Christmas gift with the decision.
Yeah.
You got a response to that?
No. Hand sanitizer boy can keep using my name for some publicity as he wants.
Is the best way for this war of words with him to be buried with a fight between you both in the future at some point?
It could happen, you know what I mean? He looked good tonight. Give him his due. He looked good tonight, he did. Bryce did rock him though in the second round. And I am a lot bigger than both of them. You know what I mean? So, that could happen in the future, but as I say, I don't know when I'm going to be fighting now. I've got to get this ankle looked at. And if I was him, like, what? He's in the top 10 in the featherweight division now, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's just beat number 9.
Yeah.
That just shows how I live in his head rent-free. You know what I mean? He's still talking about me, even though he's in the top 10 in featherweight. If I was him, I'd be asking for number 5 or something. But he's asking for the baddie, because he knows who the fucking boy is.
I know you said earlier that you don't give a fuck about what people say or think when it comes to the weight gain, but considering Ricky Hatton, who also went up and down in weight between camps, retired.
He was also a world champion, though, weren't he?
Yeah, but if he retired at 28, is the weight gain...
Did he retire at 28?
That was his first retirement, yeah, and then he came back and lost to Senchenko at 33 or so.
I didn't know he retired at 28. Like, I'm 28 in about 3 weeks, lad. Do you think I'm retiring in 3 weeks?
Not 28, but do you think it's conducive to career longevity?
No. I do DEXA scans and stuff when I'm going into fights, lad. My RMR doesn't go down. You know what I mean? I do this scientifically. I don't cut big amounts of weight. The top end of the division cut more weight than me. I cut 10 pounds yesterday. I think like Makhachev and Poirier and Oliveira and Gagey all cut more than 10 pounds overnight. Easily.
Well done with the win.
Thank you, bro. Anyone else? No. Peace out, bitches.